Even with the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA championship last season, there were still some questions about the team going forward. They were indeed very dominant defensively, but for a 68-win team, they looked very flawed offensively. If you kept the ball out of Shea's hands and forced him to make longer decisions with the ball, 9 times out of 10, you're getting a pretty good defensive possession. Despite their slight drop-off offensively in the playoffs, OKC didn't really make any changes and trusted their roster to have some internal development. Now, looking at the beginning of this season, the Thunder have a lot of injuries, including Jalen Williams, their secondary ball handler. Nikola Topic is still out with a different injury. Now, insert second-year player Ajay Mitchell from Santa Barbara. Mitchell was a 3-year college player, and despite dominating as a junior, averaging 20 points and 5 assists, he really went low in the draft, going in the early second round. He was a smaller player at a smaller school who didn't really shoot a lot of pull-up threes and wasn't really athletic. That's a tough archetype to work in the NBA. But at the same time, when it does work, it's an absolute steal, and so far, Ajay Mitchell might just be that. Before getting a multi-month toe injury, Ajay Mitchell was pretty productive as a rookie, getting 16 minutes per game on the championship contending Thunder while also being efficient with the ball, shooting 50% from the field and 38% from free. And in a rookie class that was really bad early on, Ajay Mitchell was definitely one of the few players who was a legit neutral or positive player. He wasn't able to get much playoff minutes because he was coming back off injury, but if he was healthy, he might have been a serious rotation piece because that's exactly what the Thunder needed in some of their deep playoff series. Someone else who can relieve pressure off of Shea and help run the bench units with J-Dub, another true ball handler. Now going back to the beginning of this season, someone had to step up for the Thunder early on, and so far, Ajay Mitchell has looked like an absolute star. Despite not being the most explosive athlete, Ajay Mitchell gets to his spots extremely well. Think of someone like Jalen Brunson. He has the initial change of direction and handle to initially get his first drive, and then he has the strength to finish with his touch. And let me harp on that. Ajay Mitchell's touch is ridiculous. He's able to contort his body, hit floaters from different angles. Basically every time he puts up a shot within 5 feet, you expect it to go in. He's able to play with such pace and elegance and use that final bump, that final piece of strength to get enough nudge and get that final shot to go in. For me, the most impressive thing is his decisiveness off the catch. For a young player who's only played 40 games in the NBA, he's not hesitating and immediately making his decision. And for a Thunder team that has a lot of players who aren't really truly aggressive off the catch, this is a really important skill. Look at this play for example. Shea passes it out, and AJ immediately goes with a quick pump fake to make Aaron Nesmith change his stance and open his hips a bit. Once he drives, Nesmith's pretty parallel to him. He stays pretty stuck because he's a pretty good defender, but AJ knows if he slows down a little bit at the end, he'll get enough of a window to get this floater up, and this is exactly what he does. If a player's gonna also be decisive, but also change pace and change speeds in an instant, it's gonna be very hard to defend on the ball and especially off the catch. And this is what makes AJ so exciting. Not only is he a really good ball handler for bench units, this is a player who can thrive next to Shea. And so far this season, he's actually been the best pairing with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Thunder. This pairing helps both mightily. For example, if Shea has the ball in isolation and AJ's on the wing, a team's not going to aggressively send help from that side because they trust AJ to make a good decision and probably get a good shot. And respectfully, as good as Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, and Alex Caruso are, if they were in that same spot, the defense is living with those results. We didn't see it much in the Pacers game, but against the Rockets, AJ Mitchell was firing 3-pointers, which amplifies why him and Shea are such a good pairing. A lot of people think spacing is just 3-point percentage, but it comes in multiple ways, and the most important way is just by being aggressive and applying pressure on the defense so they don't want to help off of you. So far in his NBA career, AJ's been a great shooter from 3, shooting 38% on pretty solid volume. Now going forward, I think AJ can even amplify the volume a little more, but as of now, this is a pretty good start for his NBA career. And just to make one last point about AJ being an off-the-catch threat and being good off the ball next to Shea, he's a really good passer, and connected passing is a really big thing, especially against today's modern defenses. The more guards and talented decision makers you're able to play, the better. But there's also always a caveat, which is the defense. But for AJ, that's really not a caveat, and I'll talk about that in a second. But going back to AJ Mitchell offensively, you don't see this type of effectiveness on the ball from a second-year player this often. For a team like Indiana, who obviously loves to pressure the ball and make the ball handler uncomfortable, AJ was getting by them very comfortably and it was making them pay in early offense. Despite having the second highest usage rate on the Thunder, AJ Mitchell only has 1 turnover through 2 games. And despite the lack of explosiveness, he's able to get low to the ground and almost always beat his defender on a straight line drive, which allows for opportunities like this where he can get a floater shot off balance. Once he turns the corner, most of the time he's got you by his hip and it's already done. His last step is long and unpredictable, which makes it really hard for the defender to get in front of him and get a good contest after the straight line drive. And some of the footwork flashes he has are absolutely star-like. Gets the ball off the inbound, immediately plants his feet, and sells the up fake to perfection. Now he's past his defender, and look at his teardrop floater. Absolutely textbook through contact. And a lot of this comes down to the cadence and elegance of his game. Again, very quick, out the shot fake, so he immediately gets that initial blow by, and instead of charging all the way at the rim protector, he beats him with a teardrop a little bit out of position. And I've already said it once, but again, his touch is absolutely ridiculous. Now this play right here completely sold me on AJ potentially being more than just a solid rotational player. Ben Shepherd picks up the ball pretty high here. AJ suddenly explodes into his first move. He stops right here, and now Ben Shepherd's hips are turned and he's looking away from the basket. So what does AJ do? He crosses over so Shepherd has to change his body again, and now he's in a stance where AJ can easily attack his chest and get all the way to the paint. And that's what AJ just does right here. Plows through him, easy bucket, easy floater, and that's where the strength in AJ Mitchell really shows up. And you'll see this exact play numerous times throughout the game. The Pacers are pressuring pretty high. They have a slight moment of hesitation, either through a screen or AJ's initial step. And immediately, once they make that initial step, initial mistake, AJ is all the way gone and going all the way to the rim and finishing with absolutely great touch. Now, one trait a lot of people don't like talking about when it comes to on-ball stars is free throw drawing. It's really hard to be a good on-ball player in this league if you can't draw free throws. And AJ Mitchell had 8 free throw attempts against the Pacers last night. And long term, I'm feeling really good that AJ will be able to put a lot of pressure on defenses and draw a lot of fouls. The way he plays, again, a lot of change of pace, a lot of strength, a lot of driving. That's going to attract a lot of fouls. The most important thing about drawing free throws is not just being in the paint and not just being physically imposing, but it's able to get your defenders out of position. And again, like I've showed throughout this video, that's what AJ is best at. It's really hard to make takeaways off of Summer League, but AJ Mitchell was drawing free throws at an insane rate and beating his defender off the dribble almost every single time. He won't be Shea or Brunson in this regard, obviously, but for a team that doesn't actually get a lot of free throws outside of Shea himself, this would be a really important skill going forward and would be huge for the team. Now, the last thing about AJ offensively is that he's probably the Thunder's best passer actually in the rotation. He's a true point guard, so he can use some manipulation, but he also has the ability to make those tough interior reads. I mean, this lob to Hartenstein was awesome, perfect touch, perfect timing, was a huge play in the fourth quarter. Last season, in his limited minutes, he had 64 assists to less than 30 turnovers, a pretty good ratio, but more importantly, having a player who's willing to make those tougher reads is extremely important for this Thunder offense, especially as they see more zone defenses, more gap defenses come playoff time. Now, one last thing about AJ offensively, if he truly wants to make the next leap and be a true potential star in this league, he's going to have to start shooting more pull-up threes and more pull-up twos. He's definitely a good enough shooter to make those shots, but right now he's not really creating them or really looking for them. As defenses adjust to his driving, they're definitely going to pressure him less and force him to beat him with the pull-up jumper. But again, it's only career game number 40 for AJ Mitchell, so he's going to learn and adjust and change his playstyle and change his tendencies over time. But one last thing, I was referring to AJ Mitchell's defense. The main reason a lot of teams don't play a lot of guards together despite being their most talented players, are because they'll struggle defensively. For OKC, obviously Shai and J-Dub are both great defenders, J-Dub being one of the best in the world. And Ajay Mitchell himself actually holds through really well defensively. As a rookie, he graded as a positive in multiple metrics. And even going beyond advanced stats, which can be sketchy, especially defensively, Ajay Mitchell looks really good. He's really strong, he moves really well, he doesn't make dumb gambles, and he seems big enough to guard most ball handlers. For the most part, he's done a great job at keeping the offensive player in front of him, and that's all you can ask from a guard. Now, will there still be issues in certain matchups and on the boards? Absolutely, yes. But I think the Thunder are better equipped to run multiple guard lineups than any other team in the league with their defensive infrastructure. And maybe, just maybe, if AJ continues to make this leap, you'll eventually see Shai, J-Dub, and AJ all closing at once. If you enjoyed this video, obviously subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know any thoughts about Ajay Mitchell or anyone in general. Appreciate anyone still watching. Thank you.